Well, hello there, my Builders Tea Club brethren. My name is Anthony Saratella, and I'm coming to you live this evening from the beautiful Midway Palm Golf Club and Resort in lovely Chicago, Illinois, just a few miles southwest of the fantastic Chicago skyline. Tonight we got a lot of things to cover. We want to talk about some of the new rules for 2025, talk a little bit about opening day, which is coming up next Tuesday, May 6th at Silver Lake, I believe on the South Course. Talk a little bit about the hotline, the new handicap system, sign-up sheets, and anything else that might come up over the course of the next 5 to 10 minutes. I want to thank everybody for watching this video. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, get right to the point, and get through this as quite quickly and painlessly as possible. Before we get started, though, I want to say hi to Andy Zillis. In case anybody doesn't know, Andy has been in the hospital for a little while now. He's been battling some pretty serious cardiac issues, and over the course of the upcoming days and weeks, he's going to have some very difficult decisions to make. So I'm a big believer in the power of prayer. So if you are too, please remember to keep Andy in your daily prayers. Andy, just so you know, I'm thinking about you and praying for you every single day, buddy. And I can't wait to see you back out on the golf course, recovered and just doing great. So hang in there, buddy. I'm sure everything's going to turn out just fine. Now, on to what's going on with golf. Next Tuesday is opening day, May 6th at Silver Lake. We're going to be a 10 o'clock shotgun start. All right. Let's just turn it off. Afterwards, about 3 o'clock or 3:30, we're going to have our annual opening day dinner, which is going to be in the banquet hall over there at Silver Lake. So everybody is welcome to join us for dinner, even if you're not golfing, all right? Even if you don't ever golf. Maybe you just play tennis or you only bowl. But everybody is certainly welcome at all of our dinners. So if you're not doing anything and you'd like to come and have dinner with us after golf on Tuesday, please come out and do so. As far as coming out there next week, right now we currently have about 80 golfers signed up for next week. And the majority of those came from the hotline. I think it's still there. Yep. The hotline number is right there on the front of my computer. Please make sure you save that in your phone. That is the number one way to let us know of your foursomes, especially since we don't have sign-up sheets for the first week of golf. But if you plan on golfing on opening day and you have not called the hotline yet, please do so as soon as you can. We're trying to fill out these foursomes, and we'd like to do that as soon as possible and get the information out to everybody as early as possible. Also, please don't call Larry. The reason we have the hotline is so that you can call and leave a message, and there's a good record of the phone call, and it can be saved. Larry is no longer the golf chairman, so if you call Larry, he's going to have to call me or Scott and just pass along that information anyway. So if you could please just call the hotline, leave a message, let us know if you're golfing, if you need a foursome or if you have a foursome, or whoever you're golfing with, just do that, but please do that as soon as possible. Other ways to sign up, of course, there's always going to be the bulletin board at the golf course, and I always put the following 3 weeks of sheets up there so you can sign up to golf. Also, we're going to be bringing the legal pad back. Back when Dick Kamen was running things, he had a legal pad over by the score table, and you could just walk over there and write down your name or write down your foursome. So we're also going to be bringing that back. So those of you who don't want to call the hotline and would rather just do things a nice primitive Amish way, you can always do that too. But all these things can work in conjunction. I think the hotline is a great thing to have. The sign-up sheets are very productive for us. And a lot of people also wanted to bring the legal pad back. It's going to look a little bit different. Instead of being a legal pad, it's probably going to be some forms that we'll create with, you can write if you're a single, a double, a triple, or a foursome. Okay. Now, looking into the rules for 2025, there's there's not as many changes as people think, and they're not as drastic as people think. So for starters, A and B divisions, okay? We have an A group and a B group. We've always had that. Prior to this year, handicap 0 to 18 was in the A group, and anything 19 and above was in the B group. That's when the handicaps were basically just an average, all right? It would take your best of 5 of your last 10 scores, multiply it by, add them all together, divide by 5, subtract 72 from that, and that was your handicap, okay? We are switching this year from that system to the World Handicap System, which creates a handicap index. It takes into consideration hundreds of parameters from the golf course.
Engine 127, asthma attack.
Oh, that's not me. But it's a better indication of a golfer's ability, and that's what the whole handicap index is there for. So it can help even the playing field.
0 South Kilpatrick Avenue.
All right, that's enough of that. So, but it breaks down a little bit differently. So the A group is going to be anybody with a handicap index 22 and below. And then the B group is going to be anybody that's 22.1 and above. All right. Now, if you start the group, when you start out in the A group, the only way you can move is if your handicap index moves 3 points. So if you start out at a 22 and you're in the A group, your index would have to go to a 25 for you to be moved into the B group. And it works the same way, the opposite direction. If you're 22.5 and you start out in the B group, the only way you're going to go down into the A group is your handicap would have to drop 3 whole points, which would bring it down to a 19.5, and then that's what that does is it avoids people who are right on the bubble bouncing back and forth week after week after week. Okay, so that's it with that. We primarily follow USG rate rules, except for a few very specific exceptions. One exception being we play live clean in place in your fairway. All right? Only your fairway, not 2 fairways over, not the next fairway, not the rough. Live clean in place in your fairway. Also, out of bounds, there are, we still play with the white stakes. Out of bounds penalty is stroke and distance, or you can drop in the fairway and take 2 strokes. So basically, wherever your ball went out of bounds, you can go laterally to the fairway and take 2 strokes instead of stroke and distance. All right? People kind of don't like the idea of 2 strokes, but trust me, if you really think about it, in many cases, that 2 strokes in the fairway from up where the ball went out of bounds is going to be a much better option than stroke and distance. So try to keep that in mind. Lost golf balls are played as a lateral hazard. The drop area must be agreed on by the other members of the group, and there's a 1-stroke penalty. All holes must be completed through the hole. All right, this has always been the case. I mean, most of these rules are just rules we've always had. Putt everything out. All right, there are no gimmies. Right, you can't do it. All right, because you know what happened. All right, if you're given 2-foot gimmies on the 2nd hole, by the time you get to the 6th hole, they're 3-foot gimmies. Get to the back 9, all of a sudden they're 4-foot gimmies, and on the 18th hole, hell, I'm on the green, let's pick it up and go have a drink. So no gimmies, let's putt everything out. You may carry 16 clubs in your bag, that didn't change. USGA rules say 14 builders tee sets, we're going to let you have 16. Yardage devices are still permitted. If they are used, you must share that information with your playing opponents. You can have a putting ball. It's the only time you can use a different ball on a hole, is on the green. Once you're on the green, if you want to switch out to a different ball, if you use the putt, go right ahead. But you can't hit your drive and then be in the rough for the fairway and choose a different ball. Let's see, tee boxes. Okay, here's something that definitely did change. Last year was strictly based on age. If you were 65 years and older, you got to choose your tee box. Whatever tee box you chose at the beginning of the season, that's what you did all year. This year, what we did to make things more enjoyable for people and also to speed up play is B division players, regardless of age, are all playing up. All right, so no matter what your age is, if you're in the B group, which is 22.1 index and up, you're going to be playing forward. A players, all A players are going to be playing back unless you're 70 years and older. All right, anybody who's 70 years and older in the A division, you have a choice if you want to play back or up. You make that choice at the beginning of the season, and you're going to have to stick with that throughout the entire season. Now, I've sent these rules over to Rich Schroeder, and of course, I would imagine in the next day or two, these are all going to be published on the website. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on them. All par threes are going to be played from whatever tee box is the box you play. Pace of play is very important. Make sure you're trying to keep up with the group ahead of you. Even if you're not being pressed from behind, still try to keep up with the group ahead of you. We have a 9 rule, which is also designed for pace of play. All right. If you're laying 8, pick up your ball, move on to the next hole. Put a 9 on your card, and let's move on. All right. We don't want to be taking time to hit your 10th, 11th, 12th shots before you finally get in the hole. All right. I've done it before. Everybody has to do it. All right. You're laying 8, pick up your ball, take your 9, and move on. We play rake in place in the sand traps. That's nothing new. That's something we've been doing. What is going to be new, though, is Scott and I, prior to each round, we're going to get there early. We're going to drive the golf course. And we're going to look at all of the bunkers. Okay, because you know some of these golf courses, the bunkers are shit. All right, they're concrete, they're mud, they're garbage, they're full of rocks. All right, they're not. Oftentimes they're not playable. So always check the bulletin board in the pro shop when you come in to pay for golf, because we're going to put a note on there every morning, and it's going to tell if we're playing bunkers or if we're not playing bunkers. Or maybe only the bunkers on 13 and 16 are garbage, so we're going to play them all except 13 and 16. Right? So these things are going to be posted on the board. Make sure you check that out for that information and any other important information that we may put up there from week to week. Now, if we're not playing a bunker, where do you play the ball from? Well, you want to go to where your ball entered the bunker, but no closer to the hole. All right, it's just that simple. Where did you enter? But you can't go closer to the hole. Let's see. Members must have an established Builders Tee Club handicap to be eligible to play in a 2-man and a club championship. We would also probably need that for scrambles and Calcuttas and other things, because they all require a handicap. To get a Builders Tee Club handicap, you must play 3 rounds of golf with the Builders Tee Club. Okay? And once you do that, you will have an official Builders Tee Club handicap, and then you'll be able to participate in our weekly daily games and other things of that nature. That's pretty much it for the rules. Actually, we got the handicap system. We're using the World Handicap System now. We're still using the best 5 out of 10 scores. Just because some people are asking, when are the scores going to catch up and be accurate indexes? Well, they're already accurate indexes, because what we did was we took every single Builders team member and went back and found their last 10 rounds of golf played. We know what course they played it at. We know what tee boxes they were playing at. We know the slope ratings and the course ratings and everything about those courses. So all those scores were re-entered, and they now have an index that was calculated by the World Golf Handicap System formula. So handicaps are already accurate now. But you got to understand that your index and your course handicap are different. All right. If you have a handicap index of 22 and you go play Silver Lake South, your handicap for that day might be 21. All right. And then if you go to Sanctuary, it might be 18. If you go to George Dunn, then your handicap is 24. So your index remains constant. All right. That's based on the courses that you previously played, your best 5 rounds out of your last 10 rounds scored, and that creates your index. Then that index goes into a formula that is specific to each golf course. All right, well, the formula is the same, but we have to use that course's course rating and their slope rating, and that determines your handicap for that day. Okay, that's always going to be published online. I also sent that over to Rich Schroeder, so hopefully these are going to be available for you to see in the next day or so. And of course, just like always, on the daily game sign-up sheets in the clubhouse on the bulletin board, it's also going to have your handicap for the course for that day is going to be listed there. So let's see, covered rules, covered handicap, opening day. Remember, next Tuesday, May 6th, 10 o'clock shotgun starts. dinner afterwards. Dinner will be about 3:30. Everybody's welcome. Cover the hotline, sign up sheets, we know how to sign up. A Treewood Monkey over here, and as a special guest, I guess that little bitch would be the Breyer squirrel that's named after Mike Breyer. And, for all the abuse that my monkey has taken over the years, it's nice to see that he can still dish it out. So that's all I got. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. As always, if anybody has any questions, Scott Lee and I, of course, are your COCOF chairman this year. We'd love to hear from anybody who has any questions. We're more than happy to answer your questions, and I can't wait to see you guys out there next week. Andy, stay strong, buddy. We love you. Everybody, have a blessed evening, and we'll be seeing you soon. Bye.